Hello? What the fuck?
Hi, where's your video?
This is bullshit. Hey!
There you are. What is that, an American flag?
It has a flaming football in the middle. It was more for kitsch than anything. And then, Donald Trump happened. So
Oh, God.
I want to apologize to everybody. It's purely there because there's a flaming football in the middle of it, and it's hilarious to me. It was. Now it feels in poor taste, but I still haven't taken it down because it's my apartment. I mean, who's in here ever? Just me and my girlfriend. So
I love the phrase, and then Donald Trump happened, like he hasn't continued his reign of terror.
Oh, yeah.
It's just his inauguration was the worst thing that happened. No, we're now at 151,000. Yep. So, anyway, not to start out the carrot on
151,000?
a million. No, 151,000 people have died.
Oh, that's not so bad, though.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
The flu kills, I forget how many a year, but definitely less than this. But don't worry, everybody. Look what I have. Uh-oh.
Cup of Joe. Oh,
Uh-oh.
God.
Was that a good reveal? Can you cut this part out and tell me when the reveal is good?
I mean, it's...
And action. Oh, what's this?
Oh,
Was
boy.
that better?
Yeah, that was way better. But for the video, I mean, it's only for people video, not audio.
I know what you're all thinking, and if you're gonna donate to a cause, it might as well be the cause to get Donald Trump out of office. Honestly,
At this point, yep. Did you want me to actually cut that? Because I'm not going to.
oh, I kind of did because I don't know if you saw earlier, but my original reveal felt kind of felt like a Vanna White thing.
Jesus.
But not like it's like amateur Vanna White, like before she became Vanna White, when she was still just like whatever she was referred to as prior to.
Yeah, Vanna Beige.
Is that? Yeah, exactly. She was more like Ivana Beige.
Oh, let's start the carrot.
Okay.
Kerrit
podcast.
Good song.
Yeah, this sounds like something carrots could grow to.
Crunch into us.
What's up, Doc? What are we doing?
I don't know.
Fuck them.
Crunch. And we're back after that introduction, which is the intro to the show. Hi, I'm Kevin. I am your co-host, along with your other co-host,
Gerrit. That's me.
Gerrit.
Mm-hmm.
And we nailed the intro, and now we're moving on.
So this is for the video people, but one of my favorite if you're listening audio, you can imagine me doing it, but Jackie's been watching TikTok videos, and we automatically skip one that has a person holding the microphone part of their headphones to their face. That happens all the time, but it's just it sounds like this, and it's just fucking, it's too much. But they hold it here, and we just skip it. It's very funny to me.
What if I do this? Hang on, am I Tik-Tokking? Maybe we can start a new meme.
No, it's not. You don't have...
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Care Podcast.
It sounds the
I am
same.
holding the microphone to my mouth. I can't hear anything Gerrit's saying.
It sounds the same.
Okay, well, this is how we're doing. I'm memeing the whole show. We're doing this the whole time. Hello. I don't know what TikTok is. I still don't. I know
it's like Vine.
I guess.
It's like Vine.
Okay.
But they can be longer. It's some of them are very funny, but some are just like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
I guess it's interesting to me. Okay. We
Most
all
of
know
them.
China has all the data that's collected from TikTok.
Oh my God.
It's true. I mean, it's true, right? It is.
Well, I also heard they're looking into the creator of Zoom because he was born in China. This sounds like a plot line out of Space Force. This is...
Did you watch that show?
We just watched episode 7.
Is it good? I don't know if I want to.
It's good, except for his daughter and her dumb love interest. That it's the
just like
dumbest.
Homeland.
She this is how I'll say it. She is acting like Kristen Stewart she's Bella from Twilight, and he is acting like George W. Bush. It's the fucking stupidest thing I've ever seen, but everything else is great.
I don't know why you're ragging on Bella. She ends up taking charge of her own destiny by marrying her love interest, denying her friend that loved her, but nicely, and then allowing him to bang her daughter, who rapidly aged. So she kind of, I don't know, I think she was a strong heroine.
As you drink out of a Joe Biden cup.
Change is coming. Sort of change. A sort of change. I mean, technically a change from what's happening now. More of a regression, but regression is
better than
progression at this point.
How bad is that, where let's take 2 steps back and we'll be better than we are now? How fucking depressing is that?
At this point, I don't even need what is it? I don't need 2 steps back, 1 step forward. I'm down with 2 steps back. Like, let's stop there.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't care. Yeah, like, let's do it.
Yeah, well, you know, it's a big old bummer. Bummer in the summer, but
Summer bummer. Oh wait, Judy Moody in the Not Bummer Summer, starring Heather Graham, coming soon to a theater near you 5 years ago.
Yeah, no theaters now.
Yeah, that was a real movie also.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, I do too, because I was like, why did they title it this? What the fuck is this?
Judy Moody and the Not Bummer Summer.
I hate it. I hate it. I don't get it. I mean, it's like they're trying to start a franchise, but it was a non-starter. It's like when they did Mortal Instruments, City of Bones. Like,
what is that?
Who cares? I mean, it's a teen. You know how they were making all those teen movies because Twilight came out and then Hunger Games came out, and they're like, LOL, like, here's Allegiant, here's Beautiful Creatures, here's Mortal Instruments, here's Spiderwick Chronicles, here's, oh god, there's so many.
So many of them that never went anywhere.
There really are. I mean, the Golden Compass, I feel like, was in that vague...
Well, that was inspired by Chronicles of Narnia.
Ah, that's true. Yep, fair point.
That was inspired by Harry Potter.
What, Chronicles? Well...
I mean, they're all books.
The movies.
It's the movies, yeah. So
right. Harry Potter comes out, and they're like, oh, like, let's make Chronicles of Narnia into, like, a sort of Harry Potter thing. Mm-hmm. With Jesus. I don't, you know. Hey,
the world we used to live in.
Dude, isn't it weird? I mean, it feels like we are going through an enormous global feeling of mourning 24/7. Mourning as in MOURINING.
Oh yeah, I got you.
It's just like constant. I mean, I really wonder if, you know how, okay, so we had the Great Depression, right? And I always associated that with money, which makes sense. I'm not saying it wasn't about money, but also it was like a mental feeling where everyone was like, oh my God, everything is awful. Nothing is good.
Yep.
I am depressed to be alive because there's nothing good at the moment.
Yeah, I still can't see in the future. I plan on not doing any more dates the rest of the year. There's a lot of people that have been doing open mics around me. They'll go do shows or whatever, and then, you know, either, I don't know what they're doing with the microphones, but I think they're putting, like, you know, microphone condoms or something like that, or they're putting like a different, like that foam thing to noise cancel thing on top of the microphone.
Changing it every time?
Yeah, but it's like, it's all so much risk that it's just like, with cases rising. I mean, we had another. So in Michigan, I don't know if you've been following our numbers, but
I mean, you guys are the worst. I really have not been paying attention anymore because I just am so disappointed in everything over there.
Well, it used to be Detroit was kind of the hub for all the cases, and then
there's an Amazon hub out there.
Oh, great! Does that mean that Bezos doesn't pay taxes for the city that he's in for 40 years, just like Trump did in New York when he got his first bill? Okay, it's almost like I did some fucking research, and I hate being condescended to on Facebook posts. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Anyway,
okay, yes, you're right though. I do agree with you.
So it started in Detroit as the hub, and then it kind of branched out over, you know, Michigan, and then it went down to never zero. It was never zero. and then start opening things back up.
Well, that's not going to happen for a while.
Prioritize bars, restaurants over fucking schools. So there was no plan put in place, and now we're skyrocketing. There was a backlog of cases this previous weekend.
Love
then when they finally accounted for all those, it was over 1,000 new cases. And then throughout the week, it's been 600, 700, 800, 900, and then today again, I think it was 950 something. That's from yesterday.
So not 1,000 yet.
No, it has been 1,000.
That's not too bad, all things considered,
No, it's just interesting to be saying...
I'm being sarcastic, by the way. I'm sorry.
I know.
Okay.
It's just interesting to be saying these things and be continually gaslit by people. We're like, in June, when we opened Grins again, I was like, well, we're at 300-ish, 400. By the weekends are always slower. And then the next week it's going to be 5, 6, and we've been teetering back and forth through like ebbing and flowing around there, and now it's skyrocketing again. And I told you, I hate to say I told you so, but it's hard not to when you're fucking right and no one's listening to you because what do I know? It's I don't know.
Yeah,
it makes me fucking angry.
Did you hear about Herman Cain?
Yeah, thankfully he passed away. I wish that these fucking idiots that die from not wearing a mask were seen as a reason to wear a fucking mask. But it never is. It never is.
It makes me wonder who will be the next higher profile person in either party. Mm-hmm. I mean, probably, it'd be more Schadenfreude if it were someone else in the Republican Party. But I mean, it just seems like statistically they are an older generation, and they do not wear masks. And so you just want to know, like, who's next? There's got to be someone next. Although he's a pretty high-profile name, and I think it's really very crazy that all this is happening.
Ben Carson. He'll be next. It'll be another black guy, and it's going to be Ben Carson.
Man. To be fair, though, Herman Cain wasn't a big deal because he's older, and he was a cancer survivor. So, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Again, I really need to reiterate, this is a huge deal, and it's like that's the excuse. I just think it's so funny. It's like in the Poseidon Adventure, where I'm gonna go ahead and throw out Red Buttons' name. That dude was like 60 in that movie or whatever the fuck, and he's like romancing a 20-year-old, which was kind of weird. But again, this is the 70s, everything's fine, and he lives in the movie. And no, Jack Albertson, he was like 80 in that movie. Mm-hmm. And these people are survivors.
Yeah.
And that makes you feel good inside because it's a disaster movie and you want to see characters survive. But in real life, apparently, Jack Albertson might as well just die at some point because who cares about Jack Albertson?
Well, it's like in Saw 6 where the guy which, by the way, let's say Saw 6, low-key, one of the greatest social commentary movies of our generation.
I'd like to watch that again. Because that's the insurance stuff.
It's about the insurance stuff. So if you don't know, Saw is like just fucking bonkers the whole time. And then Saw 6 comes along, and it's like John Kramer, who is now the Jigsaw Killer, was turned down getting insurance for his treatments because he has a pre-existing condition, and he sets up traps to take the people that are like the dog pit or whatever, like the people that are finding all these things about these people, so they're denying them coverage at this health insurance agency. So he sets up traps to get this guy and all of his cohorts in there, and that's what the whole movie's about, basically. It's about the bullshit insurance stuff that we're still pretty much living with today. And it's fascinating to watch. But there's a scene where the guy who's being put through these tests has to pick between a young guy and his old secretary. And it's like, she's old, so she doesn't have much of a life to live. But he is young with no family. And then it's like he has to make the choice. And he ends up picking the old lady, so the young guy dies. And it's just interesting to watch that movie and be like, it's interesting to see that if anyone who's not wearing a mask was put in that situation, they would pick the young guy. That's really what that means.
Right.
This old woman, you're willing to sacrifice her because, and I quote, I have read this, they've lived a life already. It's that shit. And you're like, you're such a heartless cunt. It's crazy.
I mean, it is crazy because you can say that as much as you want, and then all of a sudden, Herman Cain is dead. Like,
I know.
Crazy. So I have to say, too, that movie's kind of interesting, that example, especially because
the next one's so bad.
Well, he was going by who he knew better in that example. Like he was even though he was an insurance guy, he like threw logic out the window and chose his secretary because he had a longer working relationship with her.
Was that why? I thought it was
I think so. That was my understanding, because the younger guy was kind of like a douche, whatever, like, I'm like 20 and I'm ready to fuck shit up and get millions of dollars fucking people over, whereas she was like, hi, Alan, like, I've known you for 27 years, and you know me, and we have a good working relationship.
Well, I know that's what happened. I know that in the prelude to the 60-second... Prelude? It's probably prelude. In the prelude to the 60-second countdown, Jigsaw brings up the fact that she has a family and he has no one.
That's true. He does bring that up as well.
I always thought that was the reason that he picked her, which is like the moral dilemma, you know? I mean,
yes.
You're affecting more people by letting one person die rather than you're affecting less people by letting this other person die. That's how I would look at it.
See, I guess the reason I look at it the way I do is because in the movie he had already proven that he doesn't care if somebody has a family. In regard, like John Kramer had, I think he was married at the time.
No,
he gets diagnosed.
I know that, but it's that kind of idea where you're now in the trap, so your previous life is kind of out the window. I didn't expect us to be talking about Saw this much.
Well, I agree with you that your previous life is out the window, and I think part of that is why he also chose her, because he knew her, and he's like, I guess I don't care about the fact that he's young. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm choosing her. I know her. I think both of us have a point. I think honestly.
So too. I think we should now watch the Saw movies again. Remember when we were watching them in reverse order?
Oh God, I love those movies. Yes, I think it's crazy how those were the horror movies we grew up with. Our generation grew up with, and we would literally every year for like I want to say 4 years straight at least.
It was
when
5, 6, 7, and Paranormal Activity was also the ones that we went to. Midnight.
That is right.
Midnight screenings and just seeing these horror movies at the mall.
And and I remember for Saw we would watch every single one prior.
Yep.
So we would sit there and watch like 3 or 4 or 5 movies depending on the year.
Yep.
And the weird part is, and maybe I'm misremembering this, so feel free to share your experiences, but I think we got through like all 5 of them before 6, or like all 4 of them before 5. You know, like somehow we like slammed through them in a day and like watched it.
Well, I think we would start the night before. So the night before we'd watch like 1 or 2, and then the next day we'd be like, okay, we got to cram 3, 4, and 5 before we see 6.
We were literally like putting up Lost Theory mythology style shit. Like, what's next? Who is it gonna be?
Dude, I remember being so let down by 5 after walking out.
Yep.
And then I remember being, wow, 6 was really good.
6 was so good. I remember being like, holy shit, it got it back for show.
And then let down the most by 7. And
7 was so bad.
We all saw that coming.
Yeah. Yep. And Saw 7 came out like a week before Paranormal Activity 2, I believe. Mm-hmm. And I think they were going to come out on the same day originally, and then one of them blinked, and we're like, okay, we'll move the start date. And the guy who was directed Saw 7 was supposed to direct Paranormal Activity 2, but there was a contract in his clause where he came back forcibly for Saw 7, and he was super pissed about that. And then Paranormal Activity 2 pretty much demolished Saw 7 at the box office.
Yeah, because Saw 7 was shit.
It was. And Paranormal Activity 2 is not bad, honestly.
It's pretty good.
If that's what you're looking for, it's not bad.
The Paranormal Activity movies, it's really interesting how bad they got. They got so bad so fast.
Dude, what happened? I can't believe we're talking about this either. I was just looking this up. I shit you not. Like 2 or 3 days. I think even yesterday. I think last night I looked this up. Because I stumbled across Paranormal Activity on Wikipedia, because Wikipedia is a game where you're, fucking jumping around between pages. And I realized I had seen 1 through 4, and then the spin-off, the marked ones. Yep. And then there's another one called The Ghost Dimension.
Yep.
And I never saw that one. But 4 ends on such a crazy cliffhanger and I never knew, and now I kind of want to see it, even though I'm sure it's awful. Because I want to know what the fuck happened.
I have forgotten about that whole series. I only know what happens in the first 3, because those are the ones that I saw in the theater. And
you didn't see 4 in the theater.
I don't think I finished 4. I don't think I finished it. It's the young girl with like the Kinect or whatever, the Xbox Kinect or some shit.
Maybe. I only remember the ending to that movie. That was like, I remember 3 was pretty cool because it had like that 80s VHS feel.
Yeah, it's a prequel.
Yeah, and that was a good idea. But the 4th one, I remember being basically a rehashing of all the ideas in the first 3. And then the last like 30 seconds, you're like, oh shit, what the fuck is going on? Like there's like a whole conspiracy going on, and then it ends, and it's not addressed until the ghost dimension. But at that point, I had lost interest because who gives a shit, really? It took like 4 years to come out.
It's weird that franchise died, and I think it died because there was so much time between entries. The best thing about those movies when they all started was the idea of a year between. We're going to do a year, and you can tell watching the Saw movies that they're Canada productions because of the amount of Canadian actors that are in them.
And there's a cheap feel to it. I don't mean that in a bad way, but there really is.
There's a cheap feel. The CGI, if there's blood, especially with
Garbage.
4,
holy
terrible. Shit. But the practical effects are really great. I would say better effects than the Final Destination, the 4th one. And the 3rd one, special effects, maybe.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that. I haven't seen those ones as much for some reason. I mean, I know what happens, but I don't, remember exactly.
The craziest thing to me is that all these franchises are like just dead. Like
But they're not. I mean, if I may. Well, go ahead. You go first, and then I'll explain why I disagree. Although I should probably hear your opinion first before disagreeing with you.
There's no. Well, I mean, all of the horror sequels except for Halloween, basically, they're all just dead. Like after a certain amount of time, there's no other movie. There's nothing planned either, except for Saw. But I'll get into that. So you have Paranormal Activity. With the 6th one technically was the Ghost Dimension, and I don't know when I can't remember when that came out. Didn't see it, and then there's been no plan for a sequel, right?
There is a plan actually. That's one of the things I recently read, and that is why I was going to say I disagree because there is a plan, but I do want to say you touched on something interesting by saying. They took too much time off for Paranormal Activity because they were releasing one every year, but then instead of releasing Paranormal Activity 5, they did the marked ones, which was technically a spin-off, which wasn't terrible. I remember seeing that when I worked at the movie theater, and it wasn't bad, but it also was like...
Was that the next year?
I think so. It was either that or like 2 years later. It's still in that same time span. And then when the Ghost Dimension came out, I feel like they kind of like lost... That's like those immediate fans of the first 4.
Yeah, because it didn't come out. I mean, even 5. If it was 4 and then the marked ones. Oh, so there are 6.
There's 5.
Well,
no, there are 6. Holy shit, you're right. Yep, you're right.
So if 5, the marked ones, came out a year after, and it was still a spin-off, but it was good. Then I feel like people would still have hung around for the next one. But if there's 2 years between, I should look this up before I.
Yeah, that's a good.
Paranormal Activity. Oh, I can. It's just right here. Okay, so between 3 and 4, there's a year. Oh, between 1 and 2, there's 3 years.
No, that's because 1 was like on the shelf for a while. Like,
you're right.
Waiting to be distributed.
You're right. I remember signing that thing to be like, show it to us.
Yeah, I actually do too. There was a literal petition so that it would be wide release so we could go see it.
Yep.
And we did it, and we fucking saw it, and it was a wonderful theater experience.
Okay, so 1 came out in 2009, and then 2010 was 2, 11, 3, 4 in 2012, and then the marked ones was in 2014, so it is 2 years.
2 years. Yep. See?
And then the Ghost Dimension was 2015.
Okay.
So if there wasn't that 2-year gap, I think
It's
that's
possible.
what did him in.
I think so too, because they do a spin-off and you're like, it's been 2 years and you give me a spin-off? I want to know just what the fuck happened at the end of 4. Like, all of a sudden the camera turns, there's like a fucking crowd of ghoulish people.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
And it's like a cult type thing or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And like, that was interesting. And it's not like it takes a fucking that long to write these things. They're absolute dime store trash movies.
Yes. It's so interesting because if you've seen Hereditary,
Great movie.
Great
I've
movie.
Totally seen that movie.
I would say that it takes that ending of Paranormal Activity 4 and like expounds on it in droves. It uses that to its advantage, and that's the type of horror movie now. Mm-hmm. It's that weird fucking... I feel so uncomfortable by watching this movie. It's not even like that violent. There's violent parts, but it's not. It's just like this. It's that Exorcist type thing. That it's like we're going back to that, and it's a gritty type of, like, it makes you feel fucking not grossed out, which was what Hostel and Saw and all those were. But it's more of just like a carnal type thing.
I would agree with that. I mean, I remember when I was watching it, and the scene where we can do spoilers on this. Spoilers for Hereditary?
Spoilers for Hereditary, everybody.
There's a decapitation in that movie, and it's shot in such a way, and it's edited in such a way, and it takes such an amount of time to transpire the entire thing, and then that storyline is reflected throughout the rest of the movie. Like, it directly impacts the narrative real hard.
It's a fucking 180. Like, in the
theater, it's like, wait, what? Like, where did this come from? Because it was already pretty eerie up until then.
Yep.
And you're just like, and then all of a sudden it does flip, and you're just like, what the fuck? And yeah, I love it. It's so, I gotta watch it again. I've only seen it once, but it was very, very impactful.
Best marketing campaign of all time. Had no idea that was coming.
Yeah, I had only heard of it, and I heard great reviews, and it was playing at the Celebration, rest in peace, and then I just went and saw it, and it was great. It was terrific. But I do want to say, on the subject of Saw 6, spoilers for that movie, the insurance dude at the end of the movie ends up getting murdered by the son of the man he decided not to insure, unrelated to John Kramer, the villain.
Yep.
He's been doing this a lot. He's been fucking not insuring people all the time. And the point of that was, like, the son could have forgiven the insurance dude, who clearly had turned over a new leaf at the end of the movie.
Yep.
But the son was just so pissed that he kills him anyways. And
you killed my fucking dad!
Yeah, that's literally what he does. And then a bunch of needles are explode into this guy's torso and fucking melts
from the inside out.
I love it.
In front of his sister, by the way. Because the whole movie, it's just like, do you want to get back to your family? And then he gets to the people that you think are his family, and it's like, no, his family is his sister, and then the family is of the guy, and then they decide to fucking kill him.
Right.
You killed my dad, you motherfucker!
Yeah. Can we get the audio to that? Let's throw the audio in. We'll see if we can do that.
We'll throw the audio and the video for the people.
No, Brad! You killed my father, you motherfucker! Now you burn in hell.
That was good. I liked it. So what if this is what they really should have done? Because Saw 7 was awful. And, Saw had a horrible fucking reputation of just killing the main person at the end of every movie. It was like, they kept thinking, what if they were thinking if you kept the same twist through every movie, it would eventually not be a twist anymore, circa Saw 5. But then, if you keep doing it, it becomes funny again, and it becomes a twist again. And so they just keep killing the main person. But they should have not killed him. And Saw 7 would have been about him trying to, like, take the legal battle against insurance companies on behalf of a serial killer. That would have been...
I love that idea. Problem being, the fanboys would never want to see that. It's the same as like turning Jurassic World into a courtroom drama. Like, I want that whole fucking Jeff Goldblum scene to be a goddamn movie.
But the thing is, at least with Saw, you could still make it a fucking super violent movie.
Yeah.
I mean, just throw in, like, I don't know, someone on the legal team who believes in what he does and is torturing insurance people. Just make it, like, horror porn all about, or torture porn about insurance companies. Everyone wants to see those fuckers get fucking destroyed. I would watch a whole series of movies where he's extracting revenge upon people like that.
Well, we got into talking about this because Paranormal Activity 2 was supposed to be directed by...
Kevin Grutert.
Kevin Grutert, yes. And then because of the Saw franchise, they're like, well, that's competition with us, so you can't do it. And then he had to do Saw 7, and he did not want to do Saw 7, and that movie clearly suffers because of it. He had such a great visual eye for what I think Saw 6 was. I think he did a great job, and 7 is just utter trash.
Yeah. 7 is visually ugly.
Yep.
There's such a huge transition, and I wonder if some of it is because of 3D, but it can't explain all of it. I mean, it is real bad.
Well, so you saw Jigsaw. Let's talk about Jigsaw, because I don't think we've talked about it. I saw it in the theater and was pleasantly surprised. I was like, oh, I think this series could make a comeback.
So, again, we'll probably talk about this too, but another reason the coronavirus sucks is we don't get to see...
Spiral.
The Chris Rock one.
Yeah.
Which looks amazing. And it has Darren Lynn Bousman, who did Saws 2 through 4. So, and it has Samuel L. Jackson as Chris Rock's dad. I mean, you can't make this shit up. This sounds amazing. And it's called Spiral. It's like, ooh.
Fucking great.
Yes, I get like a spiral. Like, I see. Like a saw. Like a spinning.
Well, in 8, there's the spiral trap as well.
I need to watch that again, I must say. I've seen it once. I got it for $2 at Family Video. Is that still around, or did that go out of business too?
I have no idea.
Oh, man, I'm so sad if that officially folded because of this shitty, anyway, pandemic shit. Anyway, so, but in that movie...
You okay over there?
I'm having a brain aneurysm. Let's see. That was directed by the Spierig brothers, who did Daybreakers and Predestination, I believe.
Oh, I loved Predestination.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And then they did that zombie movie also. What was that called? Undead. I feel like it was called Undead. Anyways, they're Australian, I think, too. I don't remember the twist in that movie. I think the twist is that...
Spoiler for Jigsaw.
What happens?
Okay, so the movie, it's
half and half.
Well, kind of. It takes Saw 5. Remember Saw 5? And there's a group of people that have to work together to get out of it.
Julie Benz. What's up, Julie Benz?
Is she in it?
Oh, yeah, because that was at the time she was doing all those Lionsgate movies like Saw 5, Punisher Warzone, probably a third one.
Who is Julie Benz? I can't picture her.
Dexter's wife from seasons 1 through 4.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's right. She was in that.
Party of 5 or something, too.
I was thinking, who's Jigsaw's wife? What's her name?
Betsy Brandt?
Betsy, yeah. Anyway, so it takes that dynamic, and they have to work together to get out of this. Of course, it's a Saw movie, so people can't figure out how to fucking work together. And then it turns out...
Just like America! I get it!
Saw is a great example of America. Also, too, they don't really necessarily have to work together, just not kill each other during all this shit. And they still do.
They go low to the flies on each other in there.
So, so it takes that dynamic, and it makes people have to kind of work together with each other, and then they don't. But then by the end, you find out that it wasn't Jigsaw... It was Jigsaw doing all these killings, but he's been dead for multiple movies. But all the stuff you're seeing is happening before. It happens before everything. So it's kind of a prequel, and it's kind of a sequel at the same time, because you're seeing other stuff happening, and you think it's happening at the same time. But it's not. So there's another protege that Jigsaw had, and it was the first guy that survives from the first thing.
Right.
Because he doesn't die all the way or something like that.
He's literally in the first movie, isn't he? Or is he?
Nope.
He's introduced in this one?
He's introduced in this one.
Oh man, I gotta watch that again.
But
I remember like not hating it, but also just kind of being like, meh. Like I get they tried, and I appreciate that,
Yeah.
but I guess for me, it felt like the magic had been gone.
Well, again, it's because there's such a break between. It's any kind of gap that's not consistent. It's the same as a podcast where there's like a break. But well, I mean, not to mention mine, but not this one. But I don't know. I mean, if you kind of, I've been loving the fact that we've been doing them consistently. Because it's, I think it gets people's engines revving. But if you take a break, you got to
vroom.
Yeah, you got to on Zoom. You got to come back with fucking balls to the wall if you're gonna do it great. And I think that Jigsaw did that in a great way. I think it would have been a good thing to continue. And I'm happy with them doing Spiral because it's similar to Paranormal Activity: The Ghost Dimension, but with Corona, it's pushing everything back, even though that movie's done, isn't it?
Oh, it's done. It's in the can. Just like Black Widow. Just
Black
like
Widow.
No Time to Die.
Tenet.
Tenet, yes. And it is crazy because this is going to be like a form of the writer's strike in 07-08 because all of a sudden all these projects are going to be pushed back a year. So all the other projects that were going to be made are also going to be pushed back a year. So we're going to have really just a year of it's so crazy. This is the first time this has happened in so long. There's just going to be a year of nothing. Just
Well, they're postponing. They're postponing the Oscars. Oh, a bunch of baseball. What is the Marlins? They tested
Marlins.
positive.
The Marlins.
I don't care.
The Miami Marlins coming to cast a spell on you.
That's better than the Washington football team.
I thought you were going to say Washington Wizards because that is a team, and Wizards and Merlins are similar. But the Washington football team, I feel like I've discussed on this show. They could have just said the Washington Football Club in the meantime, which is super duper classy. And now everyone's making fun of them because Washington football team is hilarious. Like they could have. I told you this like last week. I was like, all they had to do, they were 100% in the room talking about this. What will we call ourselves? What's the placeholder name? Washington football team.
Perfect.
It's like that scene in The Simpsons where it's Itchy and Scratchy and Poochie, and the creator's like, something like a Poochie, but better than that. And then he walks out the door, and all the writers are looking at each other. They're like, so is Poochie good with you guys? They're like, yeah, that sounds good. Poochie.
God. Yeah, it's all topsy turvy. It's crazy, and
I do want to say, as so far though, they are the only team that has tested positive. So the season is still going as of this, and the Tigers are 4-2. So that's pretty cool.
Wow,
it's pretty cool.
I've not followed anything.
You should, dude, because there's nothing better to do.
No,
Now's the time to support the Tigs, man.
Dude, there's so many other things I could do, like read. I've been
boring.
watching the James Bond movies with Jackie, so that's the thing. We've watched Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, Skyfall, and GoldenEye.
You haven't watched Spectre?
No, we will. She wants to watch that tomorrow, so.
Oh, at least she wants to watch it.
Dude, Casino Royale is the greatest James Bond movie. It might be in my top 10 of all movies ever. It's
great movie.
So fucking amazing. And we watched Quantum right after, and I know you like it, but man, that movie is trash. It's not good.
I just don't think it's trash. I don't even know what to say. I think, a lot of people have this argument that I've seen that you have to watch the movie right after Casino Royale so that it flows together.
That makes it worse, genuinely.
I think it makes it much worse.
Yeah.
I think it's much better to watch it just on its own and just be thrust into the middle of it, because then you can kind of get the sense of urgency that is in the movie. And I think the sense of urgency that I'm talking about is also only there because of the writer's strike.
Yeah.
But, at the same time, it is what it is, and you got to accept it. I mean, you don't have to. I'm saying like the proverbial, like we have to accept what it is, and it is way better than Spectre still. Spectre is like fucking – it's so close to being not bad, and then they have like 30 minutes of unnecessary material, and it's just fucking a garbage show.
I'm excited to watch it again because I have not seen it since the theater. No, wait, we watched it together, didn't we, Spectre?
I don't think so. I did just watch it like a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
We might have started it when you still lived here, and then we're like, this is trash. Let's turn it off.
That's possible. There really are good moments.
Yeah.
And like that whole scene, the whole series of scenes where he's on the mountaintop and he's rescuing the Dr. Swan.
Yeah.
That's all great. There's a lot of good parts. And then all of a sudden it just hits a wall pretty much right when they get to Morocco, I'd say. Somewhere around there, I'm just like, oh my god.
That's because when it's the Dr. No type thing where it's like I have to explain my whole plan to you and blah blah blah, and it's like this is such a fucking why are you doing this?
And you have to go through all that nonsense with Q and M and C. And how they're all like, oh, like we're moving away from you. We don't trust the AA program. It's like, oh, for God's sake! Like, I get it.
It's that same thing that was in Skyfall. That's why they were having those hearings.
They doubled down on that stuff. They should have.
Would you say they
excised all that stuff?
Would you say they double O downed?
I would say they double O'd. Oh, you said that already. Yes, that's what I would say. That's what I would say.
But I mean, I'll go back to Quantum. It's such a fucking bummer that that's the cut we got. You know, like I think for what they were going for, it's like a half and half. They kind of did it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just like this could. There's multiple things I found out about this. I got really interested in why I hated it so much. Multiple things I found out. I won't give a number because I'm just gonna fucking rattle off IMDb facts. It's the most expensive Bond movie ever made. It's the shortest Bond movie ever made, and they were running behind on editing, so they brought in a guy who edits the Bourne movies, and then also, what was the other one? So sorry, there was another one that I wanted to say. Oh, for a long time, I thought that Mark Forster directed Crash, but that's Paul Haggis.
Paul Haggis co-wrote Quantum and Casino.
Well, he's co-written all of them. He's like went in with the guys that write Neil Purvis and Robert.
Well,
Wade.
He hasn't done Skyfall and Spectre unless he's like uncredited.
He might be, but I feel like Haggis has been with him for a long time. But
I only am aware of the first two, I must say. But, you know,
maybe.
Not that it really matters. I mean, at the time, he was a big get for those movies, I feel like. Because he was on a hot streak with $1 Million Baby, Crash, despite how many people hate it now. It was pretty popular at the time. And then, he moved into this and was like, oh, shit.
I did find out. So, and also, Quantum suffers because of the writer's strike. Haggis finished the script the day before the writer's strike, and because it wasn't a finished script technically, it was basically just bare bones. Mark Forster and Daniel Craig wrote more revenge stuff into it. So I will say the stuff that ties it to Casino is better than the rest of what we get in the movie.
Yeah, because when Mathis shows up and when Jeffrey Wright is in there.
Jeffrey Wright, great. But the Mr. White stuff, it's all it's kind of I don't know. I hated the
I liked the Mr. White stuff.
That's good, yeah. But it's just it feels like two different movies. It's so odd. And then to have Spectre try and tie all of this together,
that was the huge mistake of that movie.
God, what the fuck did they do to Daniel Craig? It sucks, man.
It's crazy. It really
sucks.
Is. It really is. It really is. They made him. They tried to shove him into the role instead of letting him be the role, and he was the role in Casino Royale, and I think even to an extent he was the role in Quantum.
Kind of,
but.
For what it became, he's enough.
But it's funny that we're bringing this up because I was actually just going to say that Inspector is where he finally embodies the role in a pretty like it looks like he's having a good time.
Yeah,
and it's because they finally he has that gruff demeanor. So when he's putting in like he's giving like jokes or whatever, it works. And he doesn't get a chance to do that too often in his other movies, and that's fine. it's just kind of funny that by the time they finally start writing those things and let him kind of have fun with it, it's in the shittiest movie.
Dude, I know. It's like they had so much going. And I will say this, Skyfall is just The Dark Knight.
Oh, absolutely. I noticed that too. That is the one reason. I used to love Skyfall more than Casino Royale.
There's a reason it's not in my top 5.
Yeah,
I don't think it's original in the slightest.
It's really unfortunate. The ending is amazing still. I still think the ending is fucking awesome. The cinematography puts it pretty much head and shoulders above anything else. And there's a bunch of stuff I really do like.
Yeah.
But basically just the purposely getting caught thing is very Dark Knight-y.
It's that Javier Bardem laughs all the time. It's like, you're just doing the Joker.
I thought he did a great job.
He did, but it would have been better if fucking Heath Ledger didn't just do that in a movie that everyone loved. Like, it's clearly the Dark Knight.
Interesting.
Cinematography as well. I mean, it's good, but it's all
good.
It's good. It's
fantastic.
Deakins did a great job, but it's so influenced by what Nolan did with the Dark Knight, and it's like it's so much that you're like, this isn't just an homage. You're just taking shit.
Interesting.
I'm not the biggest fan of Skyfall. I'll go on record saying that.
Oh, clearly.
After just watching it again as well.
So what would your order be for Craig movies then?
I'd say Casino Royale, Skyfall, Quantum by default, and Spectre.
I think the main, I gotta say,
they're all so different.
They are.
It's crazy. It's like they're all different Bonds.
Yeah,
it's insane.
It's so interesting. That's why I want to see No Time to Die so bad. I want to know what the fuck it's gonna be like. But I gotta say, I think the main issue I ended up taking with Quantum overall was purely the editing, which is insane. It's like Taken 3 in some parts where I'm just like, what the fuck?
It's so unnecessary. Like, I want a director's cut where it's at least 2 hours. Just don't fucking show me the fucking opera while they're running through a hotel and fires are starting in the kitchen. Why are you doing this? And I get that it's a director choice, but is it though? Because you know for a fact they filmed all that shit, and maybe it's the editor just like, oh, this is a great idea, I'll just do this. Or the fucking horse racing shit while they're running through the canals. In the video game, which we have talked about, it explains why that horse race is going on, or why that horse race is being shown. It's because it's affecting the canals underneath. I had no idea from the movie.
Whoa.
Shit is falling apart because the fucking horse race had no idea. If they would have explained that in the movie somehow, but there's no reason to explain it because it doesn't make sense. It's a shit film. I'm just gonna say
again
it now.
though. I really think I'm just saying. I mean, I just think it's the editing. I mean,
it is
like so much of that could be explained away by that because, I don't care. I gotta say about the length. I think it's totally fine to have a Bond movie that's like that short.
I'm fine with that too. But if you're gonna give me that length, fill in the gaps. Like I've literally had to watch that movie 7 times before I understood what was happening. And then I saw it the 8th time and was like, oh, I like this now. Okay. And then the 9th time, I'm like, I forgot I hated it. I don't like this movie. Not a fan. But I will concede, seeing it right after Casino Royale fucking really ruins it. And I know that it suffers because of the writer's strike and the editing. I know those are the big problems with Quantum. But other than that, it is not a good finished product because it doesn't feel finished. That's the thing.
I mean, it's true. It's true.
And they finished it in Spectre, and Spectre shit, so it's still not finished.
Yeah, but with Spectre, they did the opposite thing. With Quantum, they were like, let's continue trying to make Bond completely different from all the other Bond movies and make it more like Bourne even and whatever. And then with Spectre, they were like, okay, we have all the time in the world and let's do a Bond movie like a normal Bond movie this time. And it's they both suffer for opposite reasons.
Yep.
There's no sweet spot. The sweet spot is Casino Royale.
It's
perfect.
the best.
it's a Bond movie that's not too Bond, but also hits the familiar notes. And
well, it's GoldenEye. It's meta because Martin Campbell and even dude, I paid attention to the directing of Casino Royale. It is masterful.
Yeah.
That first scene in black and white, when the guy's going up to his office, there's Dutch angles.
Oh yeah.
And it fucking sets the perfect tone because it's like a two-layer of thing. So it's Dutch angles because Dutch angles in film, it's supposed to make like you feel uneasy or uncomfortable. You don't know how to feel. So you have the guy going up to his office, he's freaking out, and then you also have the fans and people seeing this new movie with a new Bond, and we all feel uneasy. And it's like these Dutch angles are there to make the character feel uncomfortable and the audience feel uncomfortable for multiple reasons. That's one thing in the greatest Bond movie. It's you never would even pick up on it. It's great.
I mean, not to mention...
And then this is Quantum.
Oh my god.
Like, what the fuck?
Dude, first of all, I just want to say, not to mention in Casino... When it is in the flashback scenes in black and white, and then when it flashes back to Bond beating the shit out of that guy, it's like an even grainier version of black and white.
I know. I noticed that too.
But dude, with Quantum, and this really comes back to the editing, and I know I'm harping on this hard, but there's so many examples. And when he's doing the running of the horses thing, there are some scenes where he is like flying from like stairwell to stairwell type stuff, and it looks like a really cool stunt, but they chop it to pieces, so it takes away from that like hard nose, like gritty, like brawling style action that they were going for, and it ends up being just confused and hard to watch.
Well, I realized this after. So this is another thing for Quantum for me. You have these action set pieces, the car chase, the foot chase through the canals, and then the boat chase, the airplane thing, where they pull the chute and fall into the cave, and then the hotel in the desert. Those are the big five. Well, there's also the elevator, him escaping custody.
There's so much crazy shit in it. I thought it was awesome.
There is.
It was so cool.
There's so much crazy shit, but it's edited. So, and then also running through the fucking kitchen, and then you got the opera. So there's like 7 action set pieces, kind of. And the only one I felt anything during was the last one in the hotel.
Yeah.
Because it's edited so poorly. That by the end of that fight scene or whatever's happening. Oh, he also has a fight with a guy in the hotel. That thing too, where it's the same as fucking Bourne Identity.
Yeah.
But all these things happen, and that the hotel one is the only one I felt anything during. And god damn it, what am I trying to say? Okay, so any action set piece that happens, the action happens quickly, it's done, and then into the next scene. Halfway through that next scene, I'm like, oh, we're in a new scene now. I feel like I'm still in that fight or whatever it was, the car chase, but we're not. We're done now. And it's like the editing is so bad, it makes me not realize the movie is continued. If that makes sense.
I get that. So for me, I really do get what you mean, because that's the movie when I was finished watching it, or even like, I guess during it, I was just like,
you're halfway through the credits and you're like, oh, it's done. No, I'm kidding.
Well, it was more like I would watch it and be like, Daniel Craig's not doing anything in this movie. Even though he's in every single scene, I don't really remember what he's doing. He's literally like flying through that movie like Superman, like from scene to scene. I'm like, what?
It's because there's nothing being explained. I mean, dude, fucking, what about the henchman with the fucking bald, the hair? He's the worst henchman in the world.
Yeah. Well,
what the fuck?
See, like, my thing is, I think that style really was close to working if it weren't for the editing. Like, truly, I'm okay with the idea of him being like a specter, no pun intended, flying through these scenes, because in some ways, like, you could easily have a style of Bond where he's just that person who kind of shows up, beats the shit out of you, gets information, and leaves. But it just doesn't work when you can't see anything. You got to be able to see it. It's like a silent movie. Like, you could have a silent movie Bond where he walks in, beats the shit out of people, where you can see what's going on, so that it advances the story, and then moves on. But when he's not saying anything, he's beating the shit out of people, you can't even tell what the fuck he's doing, then it's like, okay, this is a problem.
I mean, and also watching it right off the heels of, or right on the heels, however that works, with Casino Royale is like, in Casino Royale, he's like, you know, he's a smart agent. He's doing investigatory things. There's acts of, you know, espionage and investigation and all this stuff, and he's using his smarts. And then in Quantum, it's just like, oh, I offered you for the exchange of this plane, and he's going to call the cops on us, and it's not going to matter anyway. And it's just like, interesting. Okay. I'll be honest, I like that, because it's like he's so shut off that he offered her, and then he knows he's going to call the cops or whatever, and then in the next scene it's like them taking off, and then it shows the guy like picking up the phone and calling, and you're like, oh, okay. I mean, I like that, but it's like, that's one glimmer in a fucking, you know, movie that should be good.
I thought that, man, I really liked this movie overall.
Quantum?
And yeah, I really did, because it's so different. It's the whole time he's doing these things. He's not doing as much investigatory stuff, because he is like in the throes of total depression, you know?
Well, then explore that. Like, I shouldn't have to have like a fucking dissertation about the movie. I should get that from the movie. The movie makes me feel nothing.
See, I think that I did get that from the movie. If you watch it, at least... I don't know how many times you have to watch it, honestly. I mean, I'm not you, but like, I get what you mean, because it takes a second to... I'm plugging my computer in. Oh, hey, I had my charger right over there. I didn't even have to stand up, and I'm
That's fine. This is why you have to watch the Kerrit podcast, everybody. By the way, we never took a break for an ad, but there's probably an ad in there earlier.
Yeah, that was a really good ad. This is... Okay.
Go ahead.
So I really liked this movie. I actually think it is a solid companion piece in regards to his emotional growth, because he is so shut off in the movie, his character. And I feel like you can feel that, because there are like subtle moments where he's like I feel like when he's talking to M, for example, he's like shutting her down and like not letting her in. And he's drinking all the time. And you get a hint of what's going on when he's with Mathis. And it just worked for me. It felt to me like it felt like the writer's strike was used in almost an advantage, where they were like, all right, we're just making a fast, mean revenge movie, and that's what we're doing. He's emotionally shut off. He's a wrecking ball. He came in like a wrecking ball. And then,
oh boy,
he just fucked shit up. And so I just liked it. It really is the editing. It comes down to the editing for me. It's not a perfect movie. It would never have been a perfect movie with the writer's strike, but it's an interesting movie. And its shortcomings are more or less completely reliant upon the editing.
Well,
the cinematography is great.
Yeah,
the effects are solid.
The effects are solid. I just want to see a longer cut of that movie. Yeah.
Interesting. That's so funny. No one said that ever.
Because, well, if you have a longer cut, you're going to have fucking scenes where you're like, oh, I get why this is happening now. I get what's happening in this car chase.
I like that they were trying...
I don't need 19 cuts from him to move his... Dude,
it sucks, because that opening scene would have been one of the best opening scenes. And I think it's still kind of close, because I think it's so visceral. But it's just a little too shaky. If they had reduced it by like 50%, it was fucking awesome.
I'll be honest, I don't even think it's the shakiness that's the problem. I think it's the milliseconds of cuts.
I agree with you. Because you can't get a glimpse of anything. Like Taken 3. Yeah.
There's no spatial awareness. You have no idea where you are, what's going on. I think that's the big issue. Like, and even with shaky cam, it's like, it can be done well. That's the thing. Like, if you watch a movie and there's shaky cam, it's because there's a reason that shaky cam is supposed to exist. It's because you're in that moment. You're feeling those things.
Right.
And it doesn't make me feel those things with, like, the split-second cuts and all of it together just fucking ruins the whole experience for me.
Right. I agree.
It's so weird.
I know. It's really close, though. It's so close. It's so close. Points for getting close.
I mean, I'd say it's better than some of the bad ones, obviously. But so we've talked about this on the pod before, and I'm loving that season 3 has just become James Bond talk with Gerrit and Kevin.
It's like car talk on NPR where they talk about cars.
Yeah.
Oil belongs in an engine and requires changing.
Poignant.
Yes.
Wow.
You can go to a Jiffy Lube or a Valvoline.
How did I know you were going to say Valvoline?
Or your local car dealership sometimes.
Or a Walmart.
Yeah, you could do it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You need an oil filter and oil, and you need the right oil, and you need an oil pan.
Well, clearly season 3 is over, and yes. What was I saying? Oh, so we talked about it before, but what are your really bad Bond movies that aren't even fun to watch? What are your worst? Thunderball?
For some reason, that is low on my list. Probably the lowest, if I really had to rank offhand, because it's just so shrug.
I'll say it's not memorable.
Yeah, it's just not memorable. And it sucks because it's Sean Connery, and you want as much of his content to be memorable and accessible as possible. But for some reason, Thunderball, because I had that one in VHS as a kid, and even then I was just like, Jesus. Like, is this like, I wanted to like it because it's the jetpack. I mean, there's some cool stuff in there, but you know, really, this experience has taught me. I mean, they're all super watchable. It's hard to say I don't like any of them. I find enjoyment in watching most of the bad ones, like the Roger Moore ones, for example, because they're fun. They're fun to watch. They're ridiculous. And that's why when something swings for the fences, like Quantum kind of does, it's like it's an interesting failure.
I mean, that's the perfect way of putting it. Interesting failure.
It's like Batman versus Superman. I'm not going to say it's the best superhero movie at all, but it's so close to getting to what it wants to do. And you can tell they tried, which is weird because they were produced under different circumstances. But I still think the swing for the fences feel, or that metaphor, is in there for that movie.
Say this. I think Batman versus Superman does a better job than Quantum does.
I mean, I would not agree or disagree on that. I would probably agree. I love Batman versus Superman.
I do too.
I would definitely agree, actually.
I do too. So I don't love Quantum. I think Quantum is... I mean, I've said it 1,000 times. It's... The way that you put it is perfect. Interesting failure. And for me, I think Batman versus Superman is not a failure.
You know what's not an interesting failure, though?
What?
Justice League. That's just shitty.
Just a failure.
Just bad. I tried watching that.
Don't.
It's like any X-Men movie after Days of Future Past. Or I guess after Logan. There's just no reason to watch them.
Yep. It's The Last Stand, Apocalypse, Dark Phoenix. It's all the bad ones. It's so fucking bad.
They're not interesting failures. They're just failures. They're just blah. They're just blah. Spectre, actually, I think counts as an interesting failure. I have to say. Because I had a good time watching it. I didn't love it, but it's a Bond movie, and it grabs you. I mean, there are cool parts in it. It's Daniel Craig being a badass. What do you want?
I think we can end the episode on this, but I am excited to watch Spectre again because I wonder if it's going to win brownie points for me, having just watched all the Daniel Craig movies, versus Quantum, where it's a hindrance from just having watched Casino Royale.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's going to be better because I just watched all those. Because it really does connect to Skyfall pretty good. Because you have M, you have the new M, you have Q, you have Moneypenny. You were just introduced to these characters. I'm wondering if their underlying, or what is it? Second storyline? What is that? Like secondary storyline?
Like their plot?
Minor plot line?
I don't know, like their character, their character arcs?
No, when you watch a movie, you have the main plot, and then, what is it, the secondary plot?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if their secondary plot's going to be more interesting.
Oh, you mean like when they're out doing their Home Alone stuff? It's not Home Alone. They'd be out doing their, I guess Fast and the Furious stuff, kind of.
Is that what they're doing?
Well, they're doing a thing where they're all riding around in a car, and they're all the second bananas, and all the second bananas are like, we can help James, like we're racing around.
I will say this: I do remember watching Spectre and thinking, did I just watch Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation?
There are similarities actually, because they both deal with like quote unquote rogue nations, or like rogue sector, a rogue sector of people. Yeah.
You know what's the most I think this is the most fascinating thing to me. The James Bond series has paved the way so many times for so many action films, and then the Daniel Craig ones, except for Casino Royale, have
followed something else.
Lifted from something else. It's never paving its own way. And my big hope is that No Time to Die, when it finally comes out, and we see it, is that this is the perfect bookend to Daniel Craig, because you started with Casino, you had some rocky patches, but you're closing it out with a really good fucking movie. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping.
He was in Rocky movies as well.
Rocky patches. Rocky 5, Rocky Balboa, Rocky Patches.
Starring James Bond. I don't know. I'd watch that movie. I think Rocky would beat the shit out of him.
I think so too.
But I No Time to Die, No Time to Hope. I don't even care. Yep. I do. I can't wait. I can't wait to see it.
I mean, how do we find like an illegal copy of it? I just want to watch this shit.
I know. We could go to TikTok. I hear that they do something with videos.
It's come out. It's come out.
Can you imagine if, like, Christopher Nolan is trying to market Tenet, and he's like, I know what the young children like. I'll release it exclusively on TikTok.
Oh, jeez. He would not do that.
No, he probably wouldn't.
But did you hear this about Tenet? It's going to be released in other
everywhere
countries.
Else but us. I fucking love it. We're the worst. We deserve everything that happens to us. Yep. I feel like the monk in the Da Vinci Code who's like using self-flagellation with that like spiked belt and rat. Like, let's like tighten that bitch up. We need to repent.
That's America.
Oh my gosh, dude, it's so crazy out here. It is so crazy out here. There's nothing to do.
There's
hard nothing to do.
Kevin, it's hard out here for a patriot.
I know, right? Oh my gosh.
Isn't it funny? You and I are the real patriots.
Dude, there are
crazy.
More. To be fair, I think if there were like, a hierarchy of patriots, it would definitely be the people that are protesting right now.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think it is
just
funny.
Standing
I wear a mask and I don't go out.
It's not that hard.
All I do. It sucks. It's boring. There are times where I slip and I'll go hang out with a friend, or I don't know, we go to the supermarket. Mm-hmm. I think we went to Best Buy last weekend.
Oh, I went in. Yeah.
We were curious.
It's because you're fucking wearing the mask and you're not talking to anybody.
100% of people had masks on, so I was like, all right, let's give it a shot. In fact, quick note, Best Buy took out like all of their movies.
Yeah, it's because they haven't restocked.
And I would imagine because they wanted to remove shelving space so that there would be more space for people to walk around.
That could be. I remember when I went in, it was just empty shelves. Like,
that's crazy. When I went in, they had straight up removed. I mean, there were only literally like 2 shelves of movies.
Oh wow, no, there were still the shelves, and all the floor plans looked exactly the same. It was just less of things. It's like they haven't restocked, because I think most people are buying online. So if people are buying online, then there's no reason to restock it, because like, why would we put it out there if people are buying? Yeah.
Okay. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy MacGruber online, and then I'm going to tell you, everyone listening, to watch Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story.
Why
the greatest biopic of all time.
Why'd you bring up MacGruber?
Watching Walk Hard made me realize I should own every one of my favorite comedies.
Yeah, I do.
And MacGruber is hilarious. I mean, is one of the top 10.
Hey, can I tell you some things that I bought? Well, I'll say this and
Sure.
we'll leave. I'm sorry. This is so long.
Cut some of the James Bond stuff out. We talk about James
Are
Bond
you
all the
kidding?
time.
That's season 3, you bitch.
There's going to be like 4 people that like this stuff. What the hell does that say on the back? Defeat undocumented? What the hell is that? Is that Game of Thrones?
What if I just grabbed it and didn't show it? So I found this on eBay for... It's expensive, but it's cheap as shit for how much it usually goes for. The Hellraiser... the Scarlet Box. It's the first 3 movies, and it's a deluxe edition, so it has a 4th disc, and then also a 200-page book. But this was about $150. I got it from
Dollars?
from the United Kingdom, and yeah. But normally it goes for like $300.
But there's only 3 movies.
It's a deluxe edition.
What does that mean?
Technically, I'm not going to open this. If I need money, I can sell this for fucking $400 or whatever.
An investment strategy.
Yeah, that, and then I bought 4 copies of the Friday the 13th Blu-ray box set that's coming out. I have 2 with the exclusive lithograph that is sold out. They only made 1,313 of those copies. So those, I have 2 of them.
1313.
Yeah, 1313, because Friday the 13th.
Huh.
So I have 2 of those, and then I have
But
2...
that's 1,313.
Uh-huh. So then I bought 2...
And 13 is much lower. I think those numbers are totally different, is all. I just don't know what the marketing strategy there is.
I mean, they could have done 13, 13, 13.
They could have released 13 and then waited 13 months and released another 13 and then done that until they reached 1,313. That would have taken many, many months.
Do you want me to cut that or the James Bond talk?
I go fuck yourself. You fucking asshole.
Just trying to find my quantum of solace.
Oh man,
They could have
I'm
sold
gonna
13.
make the sky fall down on you, you piece of shit.
As long as it's Royale.
Oh, my
Hey.
specter will haunt your dreams.
This is No Time to Die.
Indeed. Man, did I ever tell you about The Spy Who Loved Me? That was bad. Cut that. Well, cut that one out, for example. Like, that's like 5 seconds. Cut out.
No. You got a golden brown eye. All right. So I bought 2 of those, and then I bought another 2 from Target.
That's such a great porn title.
Golden brown eye. How about License to Fill?
I was thinking License to Drill.
That's good too. I mean, the best one has to be The Living Gaylights. Dr. Blow. I mean, we can do this all day. From Russia with cum. Come on. Goldfinger just stays. You want to throw some in?
I can't. I'm dying. I'm dying.
I can't.
Octopussy can stay.
Yep, that stays. Thunderballs. How have we not done this before?
Oh, man.
You only jizz twice. Oh, sorry, I was late to work. I was in Her Majesty's Secret Service. Oh, shit.
I was That's so good. That's so good.
That's what she said.
Oh, Oh my god.
Wow.
I all of these things exist.
They have to. For your eyes only, that stays.
Yeah, you can just keep that one. I mean,
Whew.
oh man.
I mean,
Oh, geez.
it's funny. A good laugh does sound like we both just came. Like afterwards. Oh god. Oh jeez. Oh.
Oh, whew, man, I'm out of breath.
COVID.
Ugh, that's bad. That's not good.
Oh boy. Oh, this is fun.
indeed. Yep. Okay. Well, so
That's the carrot.
this has been the. This has been bye.
Thanks.
That's it. End the show. We'll come back next week with a fucking the apocalypse or something. I don't know.
The world
Yeah.
is not enough.
I can't think of a good one for the world is not enough. I feel like it'd be like the girl is not the girl is not full enough. Oh. Anyway. Yep.
Bye.
Bye. Din.
Oh no.
Oh.